Today we're going to review something really new and really cool. We're not going to tell you what, there's a few little hints around. Come back soon and check it out. Hi, welcome back to CETV. I'm Howard Frank. Today we've got our good friend Duncan Dodd with us. Duncan, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Pleased to be here.
Thanks for coming. So, Duncan's been reviewing something for us the last couple of days. What was it?
Oh, it was a great new camera, which is being released.
Excellent. Well, why don't we take the lid off and see what we've got? So, the eagerly anticipated Fujifilm GFX 50S Mark II. Duncan, tell us, what do you think?
Oh, it's fantastic. From the minute I picked it up, it just felt so comfortable in my hand. It's relatively small. It's got a 51.4 megapixel sensor, and it's 1.7 times bigger than what your 35mm format full-size sensor normally is.
So I know you've been doing a lot of photography for years. I think you've been using the X system for about 7 or 8 years now, and the GF since it came out about 4.5 years ago. So you've had quite a few of the cameras. What's good about this one compared to the others?
Well, being such a large sensor, you get great detail in your shadow areas, and if you want to crop the image at all, you can still get great images. So
Yep.
you know, you don't necessarily need to have a longer telephoto lens or a zoom lens with you, because you can actually crop the image and still get a very good size image.
Oh, great. So I know since the 50S Mark I, in the Mark II, we've now got IBIS, in-body instabilization. Did you have a chance to have a play with that at all?
I certainly did. I wanted to take a photograph that had lots of depth of field, and I shot at f32, and I was only on 100 ISO, and I was able to handhold this camera at 1/6 of a second.
Really?
It was absolutely amazing without a tripod. So, you know, that's just the advantage of the IBIS system. And Fuji, ever since they brought out the IBIS system, it is just so good to use.
Oh, wow. So I must have seen that, because I know you sent me through all the photos you took. I've only had a look at the little thumbnails, but I can't wait to really blow that up and get into the depth of it. So being such a large sensor and being large format, as Fuji say, rather than sort of medium format, have you tried cropping in on that and really seen the detail in close?
Oh, yes. It's just fantastic. As I've been using the GFX camera for a while now, and I had the original 50, but this is just such a big improvement. And with that IBIS system, it makes sure your images are really sharp handheld.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah.
great. And film simulation modes. I know they've gone from 17 to 19, which is a massive number of film sim modes, but you've
Yes.
had to play with those?
Well, I don't use them all. I generally use the standard or the Velvia,
Yep.
because the Velvia gives you great contrast in images.
Oh, Velvia's a lovely film.
And the black and white, the Acros and the standard black and white. And with those film simulations also, you can actually use a red filter or a yellow filter to increase your contrast in your black and white.
So where would you choose to do the black and white as the film sim mode, as opposed to just shooting traditionally and then doing the black and white in post after?
Well, it depends. It's the look you want. Sometimes you really feel the subject you're taking deserves to be shot in black and white. You know, a lot of street photography, things like that. And so you might want to shoot using the black and white film modes. Or if you have a nice colour shot and later on you decide to use black and white, well, you can always convert it in Photoshop or one of the image processing programs.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is lovely too on this camera, because you do have the screen, so you can hold it down really low on the ground for those low level shots.
Yeah, great for macro too,
just
of course.
For waist level shots,
Yep.
It works really well.
Oh,
And
perfect.
of course you can do the overhead shots as well by holding it up and looking in the screen. So
Pixel shift. Tell me, did you have a play?
I did have a play with Pixel Shift. Pixel Shift is so you can do a really large file if you need it. So rather than just having the 50 megapixel simulation, you can actually stack images up to 16 images. And I actually used it instead of using a neutral density filter.
Yep.
And I took 16 images, and of course there's a program that Fuji put out, and you can actually stack all those together, and it gives you the same sort of look as if you're using a neutral density filter on the front.
Fantastic. So,
Because any movement you get between the images, and you can take the images at either 1 second, 2 seconds, 5 seconds, up to 15 seconds apart. And you just set the camera up on a tripod and just automatically takes the 16 images. When you stack them all together, any movement you've had in the image just smooths out.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's really good.
And so how big were the file sizes with that?
It came up to a 600 megabyte file.
Is that all?
Yes, that's all. So you imagine the detail in that as well.
Oh, absolutely,
So
absolutely. And no problems with your computing power for that? You didn't feel like you needed to upgrade or anything?
No, I've got a Mac, which is a couple of years old.
Yep.
But had no problem at all handling the image.
Yep.
Yeah, really good.
So, Duncan, I know you live near the beach and always do some amazing sunset and seascape shots. What's the weatherproofing like?
Oh, a lot of the Fuji cameras are weather resistant.
Yep.
And this one is particularly so. And, of course, you do have a dual card slot in it as well, which is really handy. You can have RAW on one or JPEGs on the other.
Fantastic.
Or you can set up to your own way you want to shoot with it.
Oh, definitely. And with the SD, HC cards, it's pretty convenient.
Well, you can get them anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and so, I mean, another great thing about this is, as somebody that's using an X and a GF system, which most people that are using a GF would probably have an X as well, the same battery now as the XT4, which is really handy.
Fantastic. In previous models, it's had a different battery, but with this new one, if you use an XT4, you can just take your battery out and use in this camera as well.
Oh, fantastic.
So I find that really an advantage.
Yeah.
And of course, with the Fuji systems, when you pick up a Fuji camera, if you do have like an X series camera and you pick up a GFX camera, you know straight away the menus are the same, the controls, the whole thing works the same. So when you switch from one to the other, you just don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Look, it's going to be pretty exciting, especially the new zoom lens that's just come out with it as well. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to play with that one this time, but that gives us something to look forward to for the future, and maybe to play with that with a bit of low light as well. But it's going to make it a really compact little system for people that want to play in large format space.
It really is. Well, prior to having a GFX, I had one of the other brands' DSLR camera.
Yep.
And the actual weight and the actual volume and size of the camera was actually smaller than what my DSLR was.
Well, yeah, this is
24 to 70 lens on.
It's a similar size to a traditional 35mm full frame, isn't it?
It is, and it just fits in your hand.
Oh,
it's just beautiful to use.
They've made it just very slightly lighter with the battery. I think it's 20 grams lighter than the predecessor, which isn't a lot, but it all adds up.
Yeah, well, the body itself is just 900 grams, so that's fantastic.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's with the battery, so
absolutely. Well, be looking forward to trying some more with it and putting it through at paces, like trying some high frame rates and low light and really give it a good range.
Yes, one of the other things I did do with it, I took a photograph of quite a bright scene I exposed for the highlights.
Yep.
And the shadows were actually 4 stops underexposed. And when I put that into Photoshop, I just pull out those shadows and it was perfect.
Oh, amazing.
Absolutely fantastic.
Amazing. Duncan, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks very much, Howard.
Oh, excellent.
This mine to keep, is it?
Not this one. We need to give this one back to Fuji.
Oh,
thanks very much to the...
Because it's been such a good camera to use. It's just fantastic.
Absolutely. Thanks so much to the great team at Fujifilm Australia for helping us out with this. Really appreciate it. If you'd like to get this at the moment, for the next month, don't forget, bonus battery and memory card, valued at just under $400. Thanks for tuning in today, guys. If you'd like to see more from us, don't forget to like and subscribe at Camera Electronic channel, follow us on all the other socials as well, and sign up to our newsletter at cameraelectronic.com.au. Thanks again for watching, take care and stay safe. See you next time.